Jim, before we move on, real quick, let me get your thoughts on some breaking news. It is being reported that today being, as we are recording, the day that AEW All In London at Wembley Stadium tickets went on sale, 35,000 tickets during the pre-sale.
That's a heck of a pop there.
That's a heck of a pre-sale.
So they are now in, well, yeah, they're in second place automatically, right? In terms of all-time
British
UK
wrestling
crowds.
crowds?
Yeah, well, UK, counting Wales and all the other environments, because Cardiff just did 33,000, right, for the WWE. That was second place. And yeah, this is a happening. And it's not only that, but it's something they can't do it in this country because it's not as big a novelty that you would see live AEW. The first time they go over there, this is the same thing as the first time in New York at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, etc. It's a happening. It's an event. Everybody wants to be part of it. Everybody except some of the people on the roster.
I would have to think that if you're a British wrestling fan, this has to be one of the biggest things to happen in a long time.
Yeah, and going to Wembley Stadium, because that's an attraction, I would think, kind of on its own to see wrestling in that environment, which hasn't happened in, how long's it been now? 30?
Well, no, this version of Wembley has never had wrestling.
What? So it's not the same Wembley Stadium as Bulldog and...
No.
Ah, well, there you go. Historic. We did, when they opened the new Charlotte Coliseum, we did the first wrestling show there. We did like 3,000 people more than 2,000 more than the old Coliseum would have held, just because all the people in Charlotte wanted to see the new building. So that helps. Everything's helping. And then the question becomes, for the regular sale, because I know you had to sign up and get a code or whatever, but for the regular sale, I would think the most motivated people are already there. So then the regular sale is it 5 or is it 10,000 or whatever? And then do they have a schlag at that point? Not like they haven't paid for the thing already with 40 or 50,000 people, but I would assume that then that would kind of be where they stay unless they come up with some kind of incredible last minute promotion or announce Punk and the main event's going to kick the shit out of the EVPs. That would draw some money.
Punk in Chicago, when he first debuted, was one of those times where the house and the rating was drawn based on assumption. I mean, everyone knew he was going to be there, but it was never said. It was just assumed. They did 35,000 in pre-sales based on what people think could be the card, who could be there. What do you think about the era of, we've seen it for a while with AEW and the original All In before that, but it's not just confined to that. The era of the anticipation driving ticket sales more than maybe the actual card being announced.
And I don't think if they had announced the card necessarily, unless it's that key match that I talked about, they can't put on anything else that's not, I'm not saying it's not attractive, but the only match that AEW has that is markedly different from any other main event match or title match or whatever that they've already promoted somewhere would be the 6-man with Punk and whoever, whether it be FTR or whoever, against the EVPs. That would be not only the smart fans, wet dream, but also it would make the EVPs palatable to the people who like wrestling and don't like the childish bullshit, because they would have hope that something was going to go wrong and they were going to get the shit kicked out of them live on the air. So you've got that intrigue also. So I don't know whether they're going to do it or not going to do it. They're probably not going to do it because we know that the Buckaroos are pussies and Kenny's just confused.
Punk Jericho, that's what they'll do.
Well, and that may be okay, but people aren't going to be clamoring for that because there's legitimate heat behind it, but there hadn't been real fisticuffs. And so, anyway, point being, if they wanted to really do everything they could, they'd do that match. But the people that work for Tony that take his millions of dollars, they're not really motivated to draw the most money for the company. They want to do what they want to do. So, but they're still doing very well.
No, they certainly did fantastic for the first day here for
But
pre-sale.
it's a happening thing. That's why I'm saying I don't think the card being announced would have made any difference because it's a happening. It's the first time ever. It's a special location with a devoted and motivated core fan base, and that's pretty daggum strong. 35,000 or whatever. We'll see. They'll probably top out somewhere at 50, I would think, at that point.
You know, real quick on Punk and Jericho, if they did that there, I actually think it would be stronger with no fisticuffs going into it. Just give us a month, 2 months of these guys cutting promos, never getting physical. As soon as they get physical...
I'm not. I was talking about the real shit.
I'm
not talking about doing an angle. I'm talking about there's been a legitimate fight between Punk and the Pussy Brothers. And people know it.
He hasn't fought Jericho, no.
He hasn't fought Jericho for real yet. I'm not talking about angles.
There's still time.
There's time. But so that's what I mean when I say fisticuffs.